if you're on the fence about doing skid steer work or buying a skid steer or whatever, a couple things that I'm not a guru or nothing, but I'm a survivor. A couple things that I looked at, that I would look at, in hindsight, and I kind of did anyway, but just as I think back on it, the number one thing that I look at is, okay, what are people paying for, right? What do I have a customer base? It's a natural evolution to me to go from lawn maintenance to skid steer work. That's kind of a natural thing. Now some people will do the lawn maintenance forever, and there's nothing wrong with that. You can make plenty of money at it, and once you get established, it doesn't cost you as much to run as long as you don't have 100 employees. Now, when you start hiring a bunch of employees, well, that starts costing you a whole lot more than just money. Y'all know that. What I think about is this something I'm going to be doing for the foreseeable future? Like, and if you've been doing lawn maintenance for, 10 years or something like that, and you know that this is where you're at, this is what you're going to do, this is what you're going to be, this is your baby, then you can open the floodgates to me. It's when you don't know what you want to do for sure, right? Like, when I first started doing lawn maintenance, I didn't know that I wasn't all in, if you will, because I had never done lawn maintenance as a sole thing. I never done that, so I didn't know. But when after I got established a little bit, after about 5 years, I said, okay, now I know that this is what I'm going to be doing. This is my gig. This is my career. This is my everything until I retire, as long as I'm physically able to do everything. And you can get hurt on any job, so there's always a semblance of something can go wrong. You could get hit by a Mack truck on your way to your 9 to 5. So I mean, you can't live. I can't live life, worried about if something's going to happen to me out here, or if I'm going to get hurt. Of course, I'm not going to, drive the skid steer off a bridge either, and I'm going to do everything I can not to get hurt. But I can't live in fear of that. Well, what if you get hurt? What's going to happen then? What if you get hurt on your 9 to 5? What's going to happen then? If you get hurt on your 9 to 5, or and it's detrimental enough to where you can't work anymore, I mean, are you any better off than I am? I don't know. You probably are, maybe a little bit. I mean, there's an inherent risk to living. So, I mean, you can't not do something because of that. But back to what I was saying. So if I were going to get into the skid steer game, and if you're thinking about it, a couple things that I would look at. Number one, like I said, is this going to be what I'm going to be doing? Number two is, okay, what kind of work are people paying for? And of course, you're going to do your research on everything. And part of doing my research, if you will, we can call it whatever you want to call it, but research to me is learning about what you're fixing to embark on, right? Learning about what are the good, the bad, and the ugly. And with all the resources these days on YouTube and stuff, you can get a damn good feeling for what the risks are. Another thing that a lot of people may not think about, and I don't know, is you got to have a way to haul the machine around. If you got an old beat up clunker truck that's, you know, that's fixing to be on its last leg and it really ain't designed to pull, you know, 10,000 pounds or whatever, that might be something you'll have to invest in. But if you know that, then if you know that you plan on, you know, if you've been in the lawn game for a long time, then you probably already got a 250, right? Or a 2500 or whatever the Dodge is. You probably already got all that. Truck. I did. Because I didn't, well, because when I bought a truck, I said, okay, I need a 250 because even though a 150 will pull a lawn trailer around, you know, it's not going to pull much more than that. I mean, the 150s these days will pull the skid steer around, but it's not equipped like a 250. And I know there's probably going to say, well, man, I got a 150 and I pull blah, 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 blah. Yeah, pulling things are, you know, you can, I mean, I pulled a lawn trailer around with a freaking four-wheeler, but I had a hard time stopping it, you know, when we got going. And of course, you have to think about the machine that you're going to buy, but you have to get things to a point of where you know, or it's a good calculated risk. Now, if you're not sure about everything, and you don't have a lot of experience with skid steers and all that, I would probably start out with a used machine, something that I could, you know, outright pay for. But that is a gamble. You know, I don't suggest that people with their first skid steer go out and buy a $90,000 machine, with, you know, because you don't know what you don't know. You know, by the fact that I bought the T190 first was the equivalent of you know, my first car, if you will. You know, it's not everything that you want it to be, but it's better than what you had, and it'll actually teach you what you do want and what you do need, and you're able to pay for it and then, you know, recoup your money. Yeah, and you're not going to start off with all the attachments that I have. I have made money with the machines and then use that money to buy attachments to make more money, to buy attachments to make more money, to make my life easier, to buy attachments, you know. And it's been an evolution, for sure. So that's just a couple of things that I would be thinking about if I'm thinking about getting into the skid steer game. I don't know about auctions and stuff, because I've never bought anything from an auction like that. Another thing too, is I would not buy a machine that's not tracked. I want tracks. I've never owned a machine that wasn't a track, that didn't have tracks on it. The tracks used to cost a lot more money than they cost now, as far as the replacement tracks. But I got 2 tracks for $1,500 or $1,600. Of course, this was a few years ago. I don't know what they cost now, but you're not going to replace the tires on a Bobcat or machine for any less than that, I don't think. Not to mention, flat tires are just uncalled for. We'll get the solid tires, Ray. Yeah, but solid tires, yeah, they're okay, but they weigh a lot, and you'll sink in them things. I just wouldn't I wouldn't do a skid steer, no matter what size, brand, or anything, if it wasn't tracks. That would be on buying a skid steer, Bobcat, whatever, you know, Kubota, you know, Cat, any of the brands, Takeuchi, any of them. I ain't buying none of them with wheels. There ain't no way. No way. Not for what I do. And I don't really see, you know, a big benefit in doing it, in using all that in other industries either, where tires are better. They say tires are better in demo work. I mean, or road work maybe. And, you know, there's people that know a lot more than I know. The tracks are by far a no-brainer to me. And whenever I buy something big like that, like the Kubota, or my first Bobcat, when I bought, you know, I paid $20,000 for that T190 I had. I got videos all over my channel in the beginning, all the way up to last year, of me and the Bobcat T190, an old machine, and I didn't know anything about them, and it made me money. But more than the money that it made me, it taught me a lot. It taught me a whole lot. I mean, I could write a book on what it taught me, and it didn't cost me an arm and a leg to learn. You're gonna pay one way or another on anything that you are learning. The Bobcat made me understand how finicky these machines can be, and what's important and what's not, and all about the you know, the GPM, the hydraulic flow, the horsepower, depth, and all the stuff that, and the performance, and what the machine can and can't do. All the things that you don't know until you get in a machine and are running it. But I always use the leverage of buying a machine off of an individual or a dealer or whatever. I use that leverage to get extra things that I know is going to cost me a lot of money. For instance, when I bought the Bobcat off of a gentleman, you know, he was just selling the Bobcat. But when I went over there and test drove it, he had a flat bucket on it, and he says, yeah, you know, $20,000, and on the ad it was, and no bucket, right? Just this machine. And this was back in 2018, and I ended up negotiating with him. Okay, $20,000 you give me, you throw in the tooth bucket right there, junky tooth bucket, I still got it, and you throw in the smooth bucket, junky smooth bucket, I still got it, and I'll buy it. And he did. So fast forward to me buying the Kubota, you know, I put $45,000 down that the T190 made for me. I was able to bank my money with the T190, pay for the T190, get my money back, right? So I put 20 grand just straight out cash money in the street, and I needed to get my money back. That was when I buy stuff, that's the only thing I'm thinking about to begin with. I don't care what any of these financial gurus say. I want my money back, and then we can talk about what I'm gonna do moving forward. But let me get my money back first. Let me get back to where I was before I bought the machine financially. And then once the money's back, then I can make I got options, and I can make choices, and I can well, feel much better about the investment, if you will. So, but the T190 taught me a lot, and about what machine I would want. And another thing, if you're thinking about doing this, and you're gonna buy a machine off of somebody, make sure that make sure that they're somewhat reputable. And the machine can be junky looking as all get out and still make you a killing, compared to a lawnmower. I mean, a used raggedy Bobcat is going to make you more money than a brand new lawnmower, as long as you know what you're doing and you can haul it. You got to be able to haul it. So you need a truck, and you need a trailer off the beforehand that can haul whatever machine you buy. No sense in buying a machine and you can't haul it nowhere. I had a dump trailer, so it was a natural evolution, like I said, from the landscape game to the skid steer game, was the transition was not transition, you know, the add-on to the business was not a big leap for me, because I already had the truck and I already had a dump trailer. But I knew, you know, back in 2012 or so, that I would be, you know, not wanting to cut grass for the rest of my life. I knew that if I could ever get the money to buy a machine that, like the T190, that would be something that I would definitely be looking at. But I bought the dump trailer for other reasons. I bought the dump trailer for firewood and to be able to dump firewood at people's houses. And so if you got a lawn trailers, that's fine, but you're not gonna put a skid steer on a lawn trailer, you know. Not in it be comfy. I never put the T190, and it was a 7,000 pound machine. I never put it on a lawn trailer, and I never put, of course, the Kubota is 9,400 pounds, and I never put it on a lawn trailer. But if you don't have a way to haul it around, then you need to figure that out, because once you throw your money out there, you know, for me, once I threw my $20,000 out there on that skid steer, I didn't have any money left to go buy an $8,000 trailer. That means I would have to spend, you know, $8,000 less on the equipment than I did, because I got to worry about a trailer too. And then if you don't have a truck either, you're not ready. If you don't have a truck, you're not ready to even, unless you just got a, you know, $100,000 sitting in the bank somewhere. No, if you don't have a truck that can pull a skid steer safely and legally, then, and a trailer that can, then that's where you got to start at before, you know, unless you're on a farm or something. I'm talking about for guys that are just trying to add on to their existing business. If you've been cutting grass for years and years, and you got a nice F-150, it might do for, you know, a 7,000 pound machine, but it's not going to be something that you're not going to be able to grow much more from than that, because it's going to wear on that F-150, especially if it doesn't have the you know, the transmission cooler and all that. You know, the 250s, well, they come with extra radiators and stuff to keep the tranny cool. So if I was getting in the skid steer game, and then another thing, you can't be trimming around on buying cheap attachments. Don't do it. Don't do it, because you're gonna wish you hadn't. Cheap attachments are dangerous. I gotta see what this thing will do, man. So I'm gonna get this part too, man. So